Father, forgive them.
Welcome to the Jesus and Jones podcast. I'm your host, Andon Jones, and my co-host is Thomas Kaiser. Our guest today is Zach Allen. He is a Highlands College student who will graduate as one of the first classes of seniors at Highlands that now that they are accredited. And Zach is a very close friend to Thomas and I, and we can't wait to hear him talk about his testimony, but then also his experience and love for Highlands College. So, welcome to the podcast, Zach. It's good to have you on.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Love y'all.
Yeah,
Me
love you
too,
too,
brother.
bro. One thing that we want to get into, of course, this is like, how did you meet the Lord, and how has that led you to this point that you are now at Highlands College, being just finishing up your junior year?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'd say like the first fingerprints of like when God like called me to ministry was honestly like in my really young age. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I spent 13 years of my life there. In those first 7 years, I my family lived in what we call like a halfway house. If you're not familiar, it's kind of like where essentially like addicts like get back up on their feet. We weren't like doing it because we were in it, but my dad was on staff, so the staff lived on the second floor. So we essentially like were living with like people who were homeless, had homeless backgrounds, people who were struggling with addictions, people who have had like the lowest of lows, and honestly, that marked me. Whether I like brought attention to it at that young of age or not, it really marked me in the way that I just viewed people, in the way that I kind of like saw people, and just God, you used that moment, 0 to 7 years old, like ignorant as it was, just to show that me, like in our early age, that people are just people, and we all want the same things. We all want love. We all want forgiveness, and those simple truths are honestly marked me. And transition through that, I would say another marking moment in my life was moving from Denver, Colorado to Birmingham, Alabama, going into high school. And it was the best transition that we could have possibly taken. But it's still a hard transition moving across country, moving across from anything you knew. But God was saving. I always love saying this. God saved us from a lot in Denver, and He saved us to a lot in Birmingham, because we, within the first week of moving here, we started going to Church of the Highlands. That first month, I rededicated my life to the Lord. What that looked like was I literally had never I could never confidently say that I like felt the tangible presence of God. And in that room at Motion Night, which was it's our youth gathering, hundreds of people. It was probably like 400 people my age. First of all, I'd never seen that many people my age in a room before, let alone worshiping Jesus. It was kind of
Mhm.
a crazy experience where I was like, I don't know what they have. I don't know what joy they carry. I couldn't even put words to it, but I was like, I want what they want, what they have.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so that was when like the gospel clicked for me. But honestly, like what's crazy is that those next 2 years after I rededicated my life to the Lord were honestly the hardest years of my life, which
Mm.
is kind of like the opposite of what you would think. Because you're like, you've given your life to the Lord, the gospel makes sense that the blood of Jesus has taken care of your sins, and like
Mhm.
you have hope and you have like fulfillment and purpose now. But I like, instead of fitting into what God wanted for me as a relationship with God, I honestly like fit more into religion, and I like my mind and my like heart fit into religious like religious a religious posture where I just started going through the motions, doing what I felt like every Christian should do, rather than doing what I feel like Jesus would do. And so I
Mhm.
kept to church, went to church every week, like literally like never failed. That was like engraved in me. And then um just like got incorporated with the group of friends that like I feel like we're kind of just like there, like the easiest friend, like knew I shouldn't probably associate with people from high school for whatever reason. And more and more I felt like I was losing myself because I was putting on a face of perfection instead of being vulnerable with these people. And I just
Mhm.
like sunk deeper and deeper into like a depression where I was like, I felt like I couldn't be real with anybody because I, for so long, had put up this front. that everything was all right, everything was cool. Zach was always on cloud nine because I was that extroverted guy. I was the loudest person in the room. I'm always the
Mm-hmm.
person, like the first one to get there, the last person to leave. Like I held myself to such a high standard that I couldn't even put myself up. God didn't even expect me to put myself up to that standard. And honestly, sophomore year of high school, I was considering suicide because I was like, I don't know what else to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it came to a point where one of my leaders, one of Andon's old leaders, Thomas probably knows him too, but his name is Danny Ramirez. He
Mm-hmm.
told me he was one of the only people that I could call on my hard days, like crying. Um, he told me after another motion night, he said, I'm actually not going to be at your campus anymore. If you don't know, Church
Mm-hmm.
Highlands, there's 26 location church. He wasn't like moving across the country, but he was moving from campus to campus. And as a sophomore in high school, that's the worst thing you can hear because like that's the leader that you like look up to. You can't drive
Yeah.
obviously, so you can't just start going to that campus. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of just made me feel even worse. So I was like, something has to change because like I don't have anyone now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never forget it. February 2020, the first week of February, I was like, I'm done. I need a refresh, like from all this like bondage. I need a break. I
Mm-hmm.
go to the Alabaster campus, which is the campus that he now was at, just to like see him again. I had another buddy named Connor at that campus as well. And I felt that same peace that I felt in the room that I got saved, right, I rededicated my life to the Lord. And
Wow.
I was just like, that was for the first time in my life. I felt like I had a genuine group of believers that I could like count on, that I could fall back on, that I could be real with, and
Mm-hmm.
no pressure attached to it. That's where I fell in love with the church as a group of believers rather than a building.
Mm-hmm.
Because for so long I was just used to just going to the building. If I could get to the building, I was good. But in reality,
Mm-hmm.
it was a group of believers, the capital C church, which was the church for me. And there was nothing pretty about that building. We met in a middle school, but those 2.5 years like marked me, and it made me realize the call that was already on my life for so long. Honestly, like way before Birmingham. And what's so crazy about the story is that the two weeks after I started going to Alabaster, COVID hit, and we're virtual again.
Yeah.
Dang, I just found the people that I love, and we have
Mm-hmm.
to go online. But I think back on that time, and I thank God because I could not imagine where I would be if I'd not gone before COVID. I don't know where I would be spiritually, even physically, but that marked my life, and it opened up the door for me to step into full time ministry. If you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Highlands College is a ministry leadership university based off the verse Luke 10:2. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So there's plenty of people that need to be saved. There's plenty of people that would accept a free meal if it was given to them, that would accept
Mm-hmm.
prayer if offered to them. There are plenty of people that would come to a church that would be open to them, that would say, come as you are. Uh, but there's not enough workers trained. There's not enough workers equipped to go out and do the work of the harvest. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
Highlands College exists for, to equip workers, equip laborers to go out into the harvest field. And here I am there. So I'm a junior now. Just finished my junior year actually today. My last class was today. Shout out.
Let's
But yeah,
go.
living the dream, loving every minute of it. I don't know everything, but I'm very thankful for where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and it's like it's so interesting to me because like I think me and you are grade, well not now because I'll be coming as a freshman at Highlands College, but especially during Hoover because we both went to Hoover and we were both, I mean, even now really good friends, but really super close back then. I know that changed. I mean, that changed a lot of our like. I mean, it changed everyone's life. But even just like with church things, like man, I remember I just felt like I got burnt out, and then just like certain relationships didn't go the way I wanted them to, and that's why I stopped leaving. I even went to Alabaster with you for a minute when you and Denny were Connor were really sorry I didn't mean to dox his name, but um, when y'all were both getting really involved in helping serve because it was a mobile campus and y'all were setting up in what Thompson Middle School, right? Or was it
Yep.
the high school? Yeah,
Thompson
Thompson Middle
Middle
School.
School. Yep.
literally setting up in Thompson Middle School, and I was like, sure, I'll come in at 5 a.m. and help y'all out and
Yep.
set up the
What it
because I was
was.
like, I didn't want to go to River Chase at the time. But it's so interesting to hear that because man, just like to see the way that like the Lord has changed you these past few years, not even with Highlands College, but just like your personal life and the way that you carry yourself. Like that's something that's inspiring to me, because it helps me know that like God's like work within us, it's really determined on us if we want it to really him to really change us or not, because it's
Mm,
possible,
for
and your
sure.
life is truly like evident of that.
Yes.
So I just want to say like it's been inspiring to see you and the way God's moved in your life and changed you for the better, and for you to become a better leader and better man of God, that I could proudly say without any hesitation, this guy's one of my best friends, and I'm so excited to live life with you at a certain extent,
Thank you,
at Highlands
bro.
College in the fall. Of
Thank you,
course,
bro.
bro. I love you. I really
Kind.
mean that.
For real.
Um, I'm trying to think. What's the best question to ask you after that is most definitely like, what does these past few years of Highlands College look like, or not even that? What is applying, and what was that experience like when you first wondered like, I want to do this, and this is what I want to do in my life for the next few years here?
Um, it was honestly like it was honestly a complicated process. I don't think they had a great system right off the bat because we were at the time um we were not accredited. We were a 2 year certificate program, but we had the choice to do a 2 years associate through Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida. So I
Hmm.
was applying through Southeastern University through Highlands College, but they pair you with an admissions coach, and that his name was Duncan Carter. He was great. I know him to this day. He helped me out a lot. But what's kind of funny is that uh, a lot of people I've heard a lot of people's stories on like how they ended up to Highlands College and stuff like that. And a lot of their stories like, oh, I felt called to ministry. So like I started looking at all the ministry schools in the area, like Upper Room has a ministry school, Lee University, all this stuff. And
Hmm.
honestly, I was like, I did not Highlands College was the only place I applied to. Did not even try to apply anywhere else. Honestly, because I was like, oh, I'm called to ministry, so I guess I should go to the only ministry school I know of, and which I don't know if that was a good thing or not, but ended up turning out
It's
good.
worked out for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So now I mean now I'm very thankful for it, but I was like, it could have if Highlands College was a dumpster fire, I probably would have burned up in flames because I was not worried about that. But
Definitely.
anyway, all I had to say, that application process was it was pretty smooth overall. I think it's so vital to have someone to like look forward to. Like honestly, I can't imagine going to a university that you don't know anybody. I was very blessed to have someone, have several people that was already in Highlands College, but also just like they make a lot of opportunities through discovery days, through in person uh like tours. We had a couple today, um,
Hmm.
to like get to know people, get to know your roommate, maybe even before you even hop on campus. So that was really helpful for me.
Legit. Yeah, that's something like I think has been the most important for me these past few months of like getting involved with juvenile corrections ministry, going doing development at Greystone right now. It's like not that you have to do it, right. There's gonna be people that come in from God knows where, like across the country, or literally right down the door, but they may not know people that well. And that's been the most helpful, I think, piece of advice we give some people. Just like find someone, like build community in that way, because not that you're going to be alone. This is definitely more family oriented and kind of like that way. This college is, but it's like 100% like get to know at least somebody, and then they
Yeah,
know 100 different people that you can get to know. So I think that's definitely like the most helpful.
for sure.
Um, what about for you? Because I know we even talked about this a few days ago, or really, yeah, literally a couple of days ago. What was it like? Because you came in like your 2 years, you were like, man, there's a lot of people that they're going to just finish their 2 years, but I feel led to go since now that we're accredited to get a 4 year degree here. What was that process like? Because
Yeah,
you're really one of the first, like you're a pioneer. They're pioneers by doing this, but you're a pioneer by following along with that and feeling
yeah,
led to do so. So what's that
yeah.
like?
It's a. I'm noticing now it's a recurring theme that I kind of just like walk blindly into things. But yeah, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. No, I just but yeah, it was a crazy time. I mean, still we're on the back half of it now, but it was a crazy
Mhm.
season as a Highlands College student. So we got accredited my sophomore year of Highlands College. They made a huge announcement about it. Everybody knew it was coming eventually, but we didn't know how soon it was going to be. And
Mhm.
Miss Jill Pettis, who was the first lady at the time, Pastor Mark Pettis was the president at the time, now the lead pastor of Church of Highlands, made an announcement like, "Hey, we're accredited university," and like everybody, woo! And literally a week later, like, "All right, are you staying or leaving?" I don't know. So everybody was like freaking out. A lot of people were just like, I think overthinking it a lot. We're just like they think that they can mess up like God's will for their lives, whether they do the two
Mhm.
year. And I feel like what it boils down to is that like yes, God makes himself clear on his next steps, and God is our he provides provision in seasons and provision for our finances, provision for our next steps. But I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of times he doesn't boil it down to one option. He boils it down to two options, and we have the beautiful opportunity to choose. So I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of times in our spiritual journey where we get a choice, and it's just part of the free will aspect of it. We're just like God wants us to wants to choose Him, wants to choose His plans for His life, but like one way that someone described it to me is like God's will is not like shooting a bow and arrow on a dartboard. I mean, shooting a bow and arrow on a board. Like, I hope I don't miss it. Like, I hope I don't like miss the mark. It's more of like playing on a playground. Like, there are guardrails. There are specific like places that you should not go. But you're meant to have fun. Some days I'm gonna choose the slide. Some days I'm gonna choose the swings. It's like it's a silly example, but like I feel like it's a beautiful representation of like our walk with the Lord, where like it's a lot harder to mess it up than you realize, and you can never really truly mess it up because there's always forgiveness, there's always grace. So I think a lot of affirmation in that sphere, but from mentors and like spiritual older brothers and sisters. But that helped me make the decision where I was like, I can't mess it up. So like, where do I feel like is the most wise decision for me? And it ended up being the 4 year program where I was like, now I get to have a bachelor's at the college I love. I get to spend 2 more years at a place where it is challenging me, growing me, maturing me. And like honestly, just like I don't have a clear piece about a next step in the next like 5 to 6 months. So like let's do it. So it was honestly an easy
Mhm.
decision for me. And I know it was not as easy for other people because a lot of people had a lot of different circumstances, whether it was finances, whether it was um just like they wanted to get married, like crazy. Like I mean, like everybody has their own
Yeah.
story, but like I
Mhm.
think it's really easy for me to decide. But it was that season. Oh my gosh, for the love of God, people could not decide, and they were back and forth. And people honestly like still, and up until it was decided for them that we're only a 4 year now, they're still like that. But it's, I mean, we're all college students. We're all just trying to figure it out. We're not gonna get it right the first time.
100%.
Not saying that I have like the right answer, but just knowing that like you can't mess it up, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's like something I love that analogy. It's like a playground because it's really like um the Lord's presence is gonna there's different things that he wants you to do on a different day. Right? Like we're designed, we have gifts for things that we're more inclined to. But that doesn't mean that every day we live our lives says, "Oh, I'm only going to do speaking to people that are inside of the church and bring life into them." Sometimes it's, "Hey,
Yeah,
we're going out and we're going to speak to people about Jesus at a bar." I'm not saying I do that, but just saying some people do that, or they feel led to, "Hey, we're going to go out in the park and we're going to speak." Like it's just like sometimes it just looks different.
for sure.
It's all fun either way, and God honors your heart,
For sure.
irregardless. So if your heart's in the right place and you have that childlike faith, it is a
Yep,
playground. So I love that. I love that analogy.
for sure.
I guess I do have a question though about just being a college student, right? And now at an accredited college, and you having to transition from being a 2 year student to a 4 year student. What is what's the college experience like academically at Church of the Highlands? Like, and you can break that down however you want. But I guess my question that I want to know is like, if you're going not only to just learn how to preach Jesus um, and learn the faith, but also you're getting a college degree at the same
Yeah,
time. So what are the dynamics between those two?
for sure. I think obviously like I think at the heart of it is still Luke 10:2, where it's like they're trying to train us to be ministers. So a lot of our I think the majority of what we see in the classroom, we have classes like holistic discipleship, how to disciple people. We have the basic Bible college stuff, Old Testament, New Testament, biblical introduction, biblical interpretation. But also it's really cool seeing now 3 years into it, kind of just like how more in depth it gets now that we have our foundational classes out of the way. So I have a class coming up hopefully next year. It's like Holy Spirit in Acts, like where we just like get a study of Holy Spirit in Acts. And I just took a class that was like more in the sociology class called like just marriage and family, like the study of people, like how um just kind of like diving like how does your human experience come to be based off of your background, but also like how do you posture yourself in a world where it's so divided, in a world where there's divorce, in a world where there's no perfect family dynamic. Like how do you approach that? So it's super cool. We all have majors, obviously, still. It's like all of them point at a different area of the church. Let me try to get all of them: pastoral, students, family, tech arts, visual arts, worship, and global ministry. And then we have all those as a minor. And then additionally, a business minor that they introduced this past year as well. I'm in the business minor, pastoral major. And then pastoral is like kind of like a skeleton, where it's just like it's giving you like the structure of what you need in ministry, but you can take it into any context, which I really like because I'm passionate about a lot of things. But there's just teaching me like pastoral care, building teams, um, communication, like basic communication on stage, off stage, and then business. Honestly, that the business classes feel like the most collegey because obviously it's like a secular major. I mean, but it's a minor for us. But it's still your basic like financial accounting. I just took an organizational behavior, how to behave in the workforce. So it's really cool. I want to like start a business one day. So I'm trying to get all that I can get. But also I love the business side of the church where like I see it's easy, it clicks in my mind very easily to see how the church operates and how it's organized, whether it's like, oh, you report to you report to whom, and just like operating in that. I think that's just because of my upbringing. Like my mom owns a business. My dad's always worked in like revolving around that. So, but yeah, there's parts of it that like we just have to have because it's like we're accredited university now. So you have your math, you have your English, all this stuff. But overall, it's still the mission stays in the middle, where it's just like everything revolves around that. And like um, our mission statement is like, I can't remember the mission statement, but it's essentially like making a well-rounded leader to be sent out to the workforce, and they do a phenomenal job. And I'm actually like sitting in the ministry placement lounge where like they like essentially have a commissioning moment where they send people into the workforce and into the field. And we have this I'm looking at the screen where like they have a video of like this commissioning moment. And it's essentially just like kind of like, all right, you're being sent now. And there's been hundreds of students so far being sent. So like it's obviously evidence that it works. But yeah, it's super cool being a part of it. Like just like having a university revolved around one thing. Because obviously most universities like you're all going your own path. You're all in direction. So I love it.
Yeah, that's very interesting about the business minor. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's cool. It's obviously very different than what I'm used to, but I'm getting a lot out of it. What's crazy is
Well,
that the CFO, the chief financial officer, is teaching the classes. So it's like we're learning from the
Oh, no
source.
way.
from the top dog.
the top dog.
Yeah.
Top dog.
Speaking of professors, like there's probably so many, right? Because I know the people from Highlands College, the professors, they have a different heart for it. That's why they're there.
For
A lot
sure.
of these professors could be at, you know, UAB, like they could be at many other different colleges, and they decided to stay here. What's one professor that's impacted your life the most these past 3 years that you've been at Highlands College, and why?
Yeah, for sure. Um, Bro, all of them are so genuine, like genuine, like that. A lot of them obviously they did their prerequisites to like become like professors, but like a lot of them
Mm,
like have ministry like backgrounds in ministry. Like several of them have used to be pastors. All of them serve at a location of Highlands, which I'll get a serve with a lot of them. But I really love my ministry classes, like professors, because a lot of them are because all of them are pastors in the work field. They call them active practitioners, where
mm,
we don't want they're like what they promise is that we don't want to put someone in front of you that has not walked through what you are essentially going to end up in, because you
mm,
have people at universities um, that like they teach financial classes, but they don't know how to like build up the wealth that they're teaching you to build up, or that's
right,
just
100%.
not like one random example, but essentially like in practical terms, like the student pastors, they're teaching the student classes. The family pastors, they're teaching the family classes because we don't want unseasoned leaders to teach our students because about how fast like ministry is growing. Like youth ministry, what it looks like now looks a lot different than what it looked like a few months ago.
Mm,
Like obviously, like they're going to be teaching stuff that's happening right there and then. But anyway, all that to say, um, I have a professor. He's actually my small group leader. His name's Ben Johnson, and he used to be a campus pastor at this church in Houston. And he just like he's taught me a lot, but he challenges me a lot. And I think honestly, like because of the aspect that he's my small group leader, I've been able to see like how he is as a father just as much as
mm,
I've been able to see him as a professor. And like I love his family, his parents are super dear to me. His daughter is super sweet, little Blair. But anyway, but all that to say, just like you get to show, like you get to see like how much they care firsthand, and they give you like millions of examples on how much they'll show up for you, how much they'll care for you. And like you are like it's so much more than just like a professor at a university, because like first of all, like most professors at universities like don't even know your name, let alone like
mm.
get to know you. So, I think it's super cool. I'm very blessed to have them. But yeah,
No, it's amazing. What about the friendships and just like the long lasting friendships you have, the people that they just did the 2 year, but even people now that you're able to have like you are able to be pioneers together in this new journey of like it being a 4 year.
for
Like
sure.
what have been the kind of like long lasting relationships and friendships that you've had through Highlands College, even like right now?
Bro, for sure. Like it's been a weird network of people, honestly, because like you have your people that you came in with. I came in with about 170, 180 people, which is like relatively a big class for Highlands College. We have around
Hmm.
380 people altogether.
Yeah,
So I had those people coming in with me. And then obviously like some of them decided to graduate with a 2 year, some of them decided to stay. So that ratio turned from 170 in my class to 30 people in my class. So now
mm,
I'm a part of a small class
yeah,
because all these people graduated. And what's even crazier is that a lot of those people, I mean, several of those people work at the college now. So now they're
yeah.
kind of like above me, if you think of it
Hmm.
that way. But it's really funny, just like kind of like I'm just in a weird season of life like that way where like obviously like everything at Highlands College revolves around community. Like it's impossible to like escape from community. So and obviously like um, I'm more of an expert, so I want to be around the community. But like, I think, just like because of the changing of seasons, like you just kind of have to adapt on what your circle looks like and be okay with it changing, be okay with it not looking exactly how you expect it to be. Because at the heart of it is like that's like what your life is going to look like for the rest of your life. There's going to be changes, there's going to be opposition, there's going to be times where life doesn't go exactly how you plan. But you have to remind yourself that community is vital. Peer wise, mentorship wise, people you were pouring into, like that will never change, that will always have to be in your life. And I think a lot of people need to learn. I think it's a vital thing to learn in your college years because that like changes the trajectory of your life. Where people
Mm.
are isolating themselves for isolating themselves when God's called them to like community, God called them to relationships, and just because it's easy right now doesn't mean it's going to be easy later. So just like being okay with like your circle changing, like I said, but also just like it can come in so many different ways than you don't expect it. I
Mm.
can think of one fun example was just again my sophomore year, my second semester of Highlands College. No, it was my first semester. I mean, freshman year of Highlands College. My One of my buddies heard about this worship night that a group of Stanford University students were doing on campus called MBL Met by Love, and we're like, we should check it out. We didn't know that it was actually their second week gathering ever, meeting in this classroom. And we packed that classroom in like sardines. But that second week, we got to know the people who are like running it, and they're all like current Stanford University students. And they're like, "Thank you so much for coming." And like, this is our second week ever. Like, we didn't think anybody was going to show up again. Like, all this stuff. And essentially they were just out of relief that like people were coming and like these random Highlands College students came, and became really close with those people. We started a group chat called Samlin, Sanford Highlands, and we just like forward our lives with these people. And like that doesn't look like. I mean, like I go to a college where there's a million people. I mean, a million Christians like at my front doorstep, a bunch of people that I can like interact with. But
Yeah.
God gave us those relationships with those Stanford people, and we got to like experience life together and experience some crazy God moments. And we're still close to this day. So I'm just saying, like, it can come in so many different forms, but I think community at the heart of it is just like vital for everybody.
No, 100% agree. I know that's something me and Thomas know, really well, being a part of a I'm not a part of the accountability group anymore. I'm still have accountability in my own life, but being a part of an accountability group for years, you know, um, and just allowing people to pour in you that know the Lord, either as much or more, and they care about your development and the way you grow, and that they want to pour into you, regardless of the facts of what you've done, because it's not what you've done isn't always who you are, and it's got something that God speaks to me all the time with my past.
For sure.
Um, Something that like because I want Thomas to ask a few things of course as well, but something that like has been very evident in your life is like all the things that God has made you to be able to be a part of with serving and stuff like that. So would you kind of want to go in depth because you're very different, bro. Like let's just be real. Like even with Highlands College, like you're a higher standard type of man of God. So what are all the things that you're involved in? Not just at campus life, with the campus you're at with the Woodlawn, but with I know with one. I mean, like everybody knows your name at one. You're the guy at one. Thomas knows. He's like, yo, this is the guy. He's like, this guy knows everybody. Like,
Yeah.
what are all the things that you're involved in,
I
and
appreciate that,
how has
but I
God
don't
been
think
using
it's,
you?
I appreciate that. I don't think I'm the guy, but I think that just comes from being a loud person.
Yeah.
No, bro. No, you're definitely the guy. You might be a little loud, but you're still the guy. Not the sole reason. Still the guy.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
swear, man.
I
I
think
walked up. I'd never been to one before this year, and then I walked up like second week of one. I think I missed the first week. Second week of one, this guy's out in the front shaking everybody's hand. He knows everybody's name, and then he's welcoming people in. And then when service is over, you come out. He's right back doing the same thing. He's like, "Yo, did you enjoy the service? I hope to see you back next week." And then somebody else will come up behind him and be like, "Yo, I see you. I see you over there." Yeah. And it's crazy, man. He is the guy. He knows everybody.
Absolutely.
He's bro, he's the face of one. He's Dana White for one. He
Damn,
really
right.
is, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Stone Cold Steven Austin. No, I think honestly that's something that's like engraved in me, and I think that's a love that I've had for a long time. Just like I don't really know, like I know a lot of people have church hurt stories, and honestly, like I've probably had fair share amount of like reasons to like resent the church and like be cynical about
100%.
the church, but honestly,
Yeah.
just like I think it's honestly just like God has softened my heart for the local church since like day one. And I think I honor my parents for like putting that discipline of just like, I don't care if you're sick, tired, ugly, like we're going to church. It's just like I think that's so vital for every parent to just like that's something that like we as a family are gonna like be mandatory, like we're going to church. And I think I don't know if that's the sole reason why, but like I've always, even like in my hard seasons, like it's never been hard for me to like, all right, we're going to church on Sunday. But how that leads into serving is just like you're around the people that um I see a lot of people. I'm around a lot of people that I want to be like. So I
Mm,
see a lot of leadership that like I look up to. My pastors like I'm like if I get to that point when I'm a dad when I'm like 40 years old, like I've arrived essentially. So I think that makes it really easy to keep coming back and keep serving on the hard days because I look up to a lot of people in those sphere of influences. But yeah, right now that looks like you said, Woodlawn and one. So one Birmingham's our college ministry at Church of the Highlands. We have 3 locations, all in person, just kind of unique to Highlands is like flow, where we have in-person pastors at Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn, the 3 college towns in Alabama. And then I get to serve the Birmingham one, obviously, which it kind of is a little bit more unique because we have a lot of young professionals, people who aren't in college, but they just love, they want community and they're starving for it. So they,
hmm
uh, so they come to one Birmingham. We have Samford University, we have UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. We have Jeff State Community College, and it was a part of that for a little bit.
That's right.
And anyway, all that said, we have a lot of people coming in that just love, just are desperate for community, and I think that's what I've learned. That just like you don't have to ask them, like, do you need community? Like they want it, and they're looking for it. And a lot of people, like a lot of people in Birmingham, like don't want to go the way the world is going, where like it's sororities, fraternities or like the toxic part of it. I think there's like a healthy part of it, but that's really the only way that like colleges have like told you to like find your group. Like if you're not an athlete and if you're not rushing, like I don't really know what else you got, you know. At least that's the way I've like seen it from the outside perspective.
Yeah.
Um,
Most
but
cases.
but anyway, like yeah, like anyway, this like we provide an opportunity for community, obviously, but obviously it's also a church, so we're obviously giving a life-giving message of Jesus through practical messages. We still do the same formula of Highlands, where we like have the dream team. We have small groups. We have outreaches. We have all this stuff. But I love Tuesday nights. This is my favorite night of the week, and honestly, just like out of all the fruit of the spirit, joy has always come easiest to me, and I feel like I've never find more joy than on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Well, now 7 p.m. Where just like I don't know, just something comes on me where I was just like I like feel like I'm on like in heaven, bro.
Mm,
And but anyway, I don't really have like I serve on our small groups team and I serve like greeter and everything, but like at the end of it, I just like I love people and I want to be a part of this ministry because I see a lot of fruit happening, um, especially to the years to come. I feel like God's sowing this soil in Birmingham that like is going to be reaped pretty soon. I just like I feel it like revival is happening in Tuscaloosa. We're having like seeing like thousands of like college students come like every week. They have like 2 service times now because they can't keep them in one service,
yeah.
which is crazy. But
That's
I see
crazy.
the same thing happening in Birmingham. We have like tens of thousands college students in our area, and it's like there's so much like there's so much opportunity for it. And then at Woodlawn, Woodlawn is, oh my goodness. Woodlawn's my home, my church family. That's the campus I go to now. I've been going there for about a year, exactly a year
Mhm.
actually. I started going
Wow.
at the beginning of last summer, and it's my campus for. So another aspect of Highlands College is that they place you at a campus in the Birmingham area, and that's part of your training as well. I should have highlighted this earlier, but like everything,
Oh, good, bro.
like you said, like all everything revolves around like that ministry, like we're supposed to train you, and it's in the academics, but a majority of it honestly outside the classroom. So we get placed at a campus. There's 8 in the Birmingham area, and essentially that's your training field for like you're getting to use like what you've been taught like throughout the week, essentially, by serving at your local church. And it looks different at different locations on like what that looks logistically, but essentially at the end of the day, it's just like you get to serve on Sundays. You obviously have the opportunity of like going into any realm that the church has offers, small groups, students, kids, outreach, all this stuff. What I help with is I help lead the greeter team, which is just waving at the doors and loving on people. But also, I'm a part of our small groups team, which is like how we disciple people at Church of the Highlands. It's a very new role, as of a couple months ago. I mean, not, yeah, about half a year ago actually. But I'm honestly still trying to get better at that. Just making sure college small groups are happening, and then making sure that the leaders are taken care of. But yeah, that's what I get to be a part of at Woodlawn. Um, like it gets as family gets. You have like your weird uncle, your crazy cousin, but I love them to death. Everybody at Woodlawn. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. I actually, but also yeah, I have a few serving opportunities at the college too. I've been an ambassador for the last 2 years. Um, Essentially just like helping. What ambassadors look different at at different colleges, but
Yep.
what it looks like at Highlands College is you essentially are kind of like you're essentially right under the admissions and recruiting team at Highlands College, where you kind of like help get people like on board of Highlands College essentially. So you're a lot of prospective students or like people who like are interested in Highlands College. You're helping them know, like, answer all their questions. You're helping them along that process without the logistical work of being like their admissions coach or like recruiter or whatever. But essentially, like
Hmm.
what that looks logistically in our like 2 pathways are discovery days, which is our version of like a college visit, and then recruiting trips where we get to go to different churches across America, and
No
essentially
way.
represent Highlands College. And if they have anyone who's like a junior, senior who's like feels called to full time ministry, we get to tell them about Highlands College, and it's super fun. But yeah, that's why I get to be a part of.
That's legit. I didn't know it ran that deep to that level, but that's exciting because you're somebody like when I did do accepted students day. I mean, Zach was. I don't know if it was intentionally. I think it was intentionally, but just like trying to be around me and supporting me the best way that he could. As soon as he saw me out, as soon as he made sure he saw me, he made sure to do a good job of that for me. Um, but man, that's crazy. That's so insane. You get to do that. That's a blessing. Trying to go back what we were based on. I think most definitely, like because y'all people live on campus there. What does that look like? Like if I know now because I'm accepted and I'm going to be a freshman in the fall. But let's say somebody is in high school and they watch this video potentially and they're like, man,
Sure.
all this stuff is great, but like, what does a living situation look like? What if I live in Texas, but I want to move there? What if I live in Birmingham and I don't want to move and live on campus, but I do want to go
Yeah,
there and try to try my best to stay on campus for the most part and be a full time student there because you have to
yeah,
like you basically have to be. What does that look like?
for
You know?
sure. Yeah, like we're making it a goal to have everybody on campus as of next year. And that is one of the crazier things about this season of life is that like I live at home right now. I live in a suburb of Birmingham, so I'm close enough where I can drive to school. but the goal, I mean, as of next year, that won't be. I mean, that won't be a reality for incoming students. Like everybody will be on campus.
Right.
Um, but anyway, like I think I'm gonna assume the listener is like knows kind of like what the flow of like a regular college kind of like want expected, like a dorm essentially, and essentially
Hmm.
we would provide something very similar. We have right now one residence hall, more like dorm living. We call it the Heights. It seats. I mean, it houses 252 students on campus. It literally you can walk to school right next to the parking deck, and then we introduced what we call the Village, which is more apartment style housing last year, and that was super exciting because the upper classmen were able to get something a little bit nicer, a little bit more like kind of like in the borough of Highlands College, but still like close enough to walk. And we're able to, I think they're housing around 100 right now, but we're opening two more buildings. So
Sick.
if like, but essentially like starting next year, all 400, 500 students will be on campus, which is super exciting. And then we're planning to cap at 1,000 students in the next 4 to 5 years, and we'll have enough village housing, and we're opening up a second residential dorm, which will house however many, they'll house to hold like as far as I assume, house all 1,000 students, which is super cool.
Sick. Yeah.
But right now, yeah, it's like the village, which is like apartment style, like
Mhm.
all of them are everything campus wide is two people per room, except for we have these cool, like suite type of things, suite houses at the village, which you can like have a 4 person one. But it's super cool. They do a really good job. Like if you don't have someone in mind, or like someone you know personally to room with, they do a really good job of like pairing you with someone like you would get along with, or like they have a really good discernment about that. Crazy enough, I've seen best friends come from like Texas and Georgia. They just like randomly get house room together, and it's super cool to see. What housing looked like for me when I started was we had two agreements with apartment complexes in the Birmingham area on the like the highway that
Oh
Hans
yeah,
that.
I remember
And
that.
yeah, and that was like how Highlands College did it since like it's begin like it started in 2011. Um,
Yeah.
we I lived at the one like right across the street, and just like they leased an apartment, and it wasn't the prettiest thing, but even then like they roomed me with people that like ended up being one of like my really good friends. Like some guys that like I like still like catch up with today.
Mhm.
And I I was there for a year. I've had a really unique like kind of like journey with that too. I was a semester there. The dorms opened up the Heights opened up my second semester, so I moved there. Roomed with like one of my best friends to this day. Um, and after that semester, they um they ran out of spaces in the dorms, so I had to go back to the apartments.
Oh,
It was crazy. Was there for another 2 semesters, and then they capped out at the village. So I was able to I moved back home to like save money and kind of like open up space at the village. So yeah, kind of a weird transition, but I think it was like all for the best because now I'm saving a little bit more money and just chugging along. But yeah,
let's go.
And
Um,
then I can get down with that. We both do in college at all.
real, bro.
Yeah,
yeah.
Real.
I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm glad. I'm getting a more like traditional college experience now, and it's for the right, like the right. It's the right hearts in it. It's for the Lord, and that's what I feel led to do. That's why I wanted to have you on, of course, is like because like the way that God's changed your life in the past few years. Like I can't wait to be a part of that. Not that it's 100% Highlands College, but it's just the way that it trains you to be a better man of God
Yes,
and a better student of the Word, and just of like having hands-on experience that I'm getting right now, but it's even more of an elevated level, having better community and being a part of a better family
for
with your
sure.
campus, whichever campus they place you at. I'm trying to remember what I was going to ask. Um, I thought it was really cool they do the 252. Like, is that was that intentional behind like the Luke 252 verse, or just it just ended
Oh
up being
yeah, yeah,
252
yeah.
like
That's kind of
students they can
funny.
have
I think
there?
that was a God wink,
God wink. Okay,
oh,
I love
plan.
those.
But it's kind of funny. Luke 282 is um what we made our like college internship, I mean our high school internship off of, and that's where we essentially like met, me and Andon. So it's
Yeah,
kind
me and you.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if that was no, I don't think it was planned, but and something I forgot to add that like nobody's off
yeah,
limit. Pastor Chris has students like have lunch with them once in a while. Like he never
right.
doesn't have time for students. He opens up opportunities for us to meet like high level leaders. We have this program here called the In Residence program, which is like the highest level leaders in their craft being introduced to our students as like active practitioners, as professors. So
Wow,
Tomlin, CC Winans, Henry Cloud, who is an author of the book Boundaries, um, Louis Giglio, like just like crazy
Craig
names,
Rochelle.
Craig Rochelle, like some
Now Dave Ramsey,
now
which is
Dave
that's
Ramsey.
gonna be really cool for
It's like
you.
yeah, exactly, like crazy names. Literally just at our doorstep, and we just get to learn from them. They get to teach us in chapel, and then they're teaching us a class or like a certain amount of students, like depending on the context, like in the classroom. Chris Tomlin teaching our worship students how to like write a song, and it's super cool. I something I've taken the leadership up on that. I've like it's like just the fact that like they're not off limits, and me and two buddies had got to have a 15-minute meeting with Pastor Mark last year, just because we reached out to him, and
No way.
I just like I wanted to just ask him what he like expected from our classes pioneers or like as juniors like going into this new season like being the first. But I
Hmm.
just wanted to ask him. I always enter into any room like that, like with the posture of like, what is the thing that only they can answer? Because
Mm,
if I can't answer that, like, there's no reason for me to like ask
to
that.
ask
Like,
a question.
there's no reason for
Yeah.
me to meet with them,
Hmm.
because a lot of the time you'll notice with high level leaders is that their knowledge and their wisdom falls on their team. So you can really ask the janitor like walking through the streets like the same question that you can ask like Pastor Chris to an extent, you know what I'm saying? Because like he's like
Hmm.
partake that vision, that like knowledge in like essentially their roles. So anyway, when I like think like, oh, I want to meet with Pastor Chris, oh, I mean want to meet with Pastor Mark, like I need to ask myself like, what are the questions that only they can answer? So so I asked Pastor Mark like family questions, like how he like is a dad, and like questions about his dad, like his like being a father. I asked him about like pioneer stuff from his perspective and stuff like that. But it was really
Hmm.
cool. Just like getting to hear from him and just being one on one with him. Um, I met with Pastor Hamp Green, who is overall character formation, the vice president of character formation. He's also an executive pastor at Church of the Highlands. Um,
Hmm.
he's not off limits. He actually like is he's like the most genuine, like kind hearted, like personable person you'll ever meet. And he's also an executive pastor of the second biggest church in America. So
Right.
it's cool that just like nobody's off limits, like I said.
Zach, why don't you tell me a little bit more about the Road to 1,000? Like, what's that mean from a student perspective or your own perspective? Tell me about that a little bit.
I think that just like I think that's just like the end goal. Not end goal, just like we've arrived, but essentially like we I think it's been in the vision of um Highlands College since day one to have 1,000 students, from my like understanding, because we don't want it to be too big where like it's not personable. People get lost in the craziness in the like day to day, but it's also like not like a small community college where it's just like it's like a clique essentially. I think they found that sweet spot, and everything for like the building is designed to house 1,000 people. Like our auditorium seats 1,200 seats. for 1,000 students and 200 staff members. Like it's what it was designed to do. Like that's like what I think. So that all to say, like I think it's been in the works for a while, but what that looks like is just like we've been 2 year for so long, so you can only really like you can only cap out at a certain amount, Not like they can't take more students in. Where it's like only a certain amount of people can come in 2 years. So now opening up to the 4 year program, it opens up for the possibility of coming to 1,000 students. And we're, like I said, 388 right now. We're expecting 200 freshmen in the fall. So that number is going to get really close to 1,000 really quick. Um, and obviously, we're a small class, like we're 30 students. So that's going to get like a whole lot bigger in 2 years. So we're getting really close to that 1,000 mark, and it's really exciting. So I think I hope that answered your question. Just like I think 1,000 is just that sweet spot. I don't know if there's anything like theological or anything like but behind that, but I think it's just like I think it's a good number that they've been able to land on.
It sounds like it's like a milestone that they want
Yes,
to achieve.
yes, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's like it's another stair on the staircase of what Highlands College is going to accomplish, and
For real.
it's really cool.
But I definitely want to make sure we ask you, with you being around students a lot and being involved with the college heavily and in the college, if you have like not necessarily a word, but just something you want to say to younger students, incoming students, current students, just younger people in general. If you have something that you'd want to say to them, just any kind of message at all. I don't, regardless of what it's about, but
For
something
sure.
that you want to say to the young guys.
I think, but I think it's really easy to get lost in like I think for Highlands College students, like the information, the crazy schedule, all this stuff. But at the heart of it, I think all Highlands college students in general, the three most important things you can get out of this season is essentially like I think if you get these three things, leaving your college years, it will set you up for success more than you ever realize. And it'll create a
Mm.
foundation for 30, 40 years down the line to be able to fall back on. And I think that knowing how to cultivate the presence of God in a tangible way without a service or like you're in your room, you're on the way to work. I think it's vital to know how to do this in your early years. Number two, knowing how to make friends, and it sounds silly, but it's like a lot of people don't know how to like get themselves out there or they can surround yourself with a good body of believers in any context. So like learning how to
Mm.
make friends or like if I move to Nashville tomorrow, would I be able to find a group of friends or would I like be isolated in those years? I think that's so important. And then three, being able to find a mentor or people I mean I think that use mentor is used a little too much in the church or like church language, but like essentially
Mm.
someone who is helping you fill up your cup, who is
Mm.
your accountability, who is seeing the things that you don't see. um,
That's
that's
so good.
that's how you save yourself from sin. That's how you get yourself out of secret sin. That's how you stay on the right track on your hard days. That's how you honestly like find a lot of security. Essentially, we're just like, I don't have to know all the answers. And I don't have to be perfect all the time. And I'm not here doing it alone. There's so many people, and also mentorship is not always people who are like very seasoned, very old people who are just like out of your context. Essentially, it's not, and it's also not always someone. It's not always one person. And I think that's a very important part of it. You're not going to say it's not like a king or like I anoint you as my mentor. It's like it's a lot. I think mentorship is like wisdom. It's like a invisible thing that you have to like find. Because sometimes it comes in the form of a podcast. Sometimes it comes in the form of a spiritual older brother who's literally just a couple years older than you. Sometimes it looks like a young dad who literally just became a like dad like a few within a few years. Sometimes it looks like uh a male figure who literally just lives the most simple life possible, works a 9 to 5, but he has a thriving relationship with God, and he's still able to
Mm,
find fulfillment in that. I think there's so much beauty in anybody's story, anybody above your season of life, that you can learn from and lean on. And it's like I aspire to have like a a network of those type of people in like this season of life, and that's helped me a lot. And it helps you mature a lot faster than you realize. So I think those are the three things: the spirit, cultivate a thriving relationship with the Lord, be able to find friends, be able to find a mentor. But yeah,
Wow, that's really good. Lots of wisdom there. I love that, and I like that you made it points, man. This guy does go to Highlands College. He couldn't help it. I got 3 points.
I got three.
One. That's so
Oh,
real, though. Even with the first one, cultivating a real relationship with God, no matter where you are, because it's easy to
mm,
go to a service, especially one like Highlands, where you've got good music and it's loud, and they create that environment. Be able to
yeah,
create that environment wherever you're at.
sure.
Um,
it's good.
and being able to get around godly people, build relationships. Because, like, while yes, the main relationship you want to work on is between you and the Lord, you still have to know how to be able to find. It says in the Bible to get around discipleship. Just get
Yeah,
discipleship and get around some advisors in your life, like you said, accountability. And then you take that up a step. You have your Paul figure, your mentor figure that's pouring into you,
for
that
sure,
is also keeping you accountable. And I like that you also pointed that looks different for everyone, and it can be
for
different
sure.
ways. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
And yeah, only thing I want to end off on is just like, man, edifying you. I know I do it. I feel like I do. I probably should do it more in private, but just doing this in public before we end, bro. Like, just a all inspiring man of God that I feel like we're very close in age. There's a lot more I want to learn from you just by being around you more and being able to live more life with you kind of in the same kind of context and area with Highlands College. And man, you do such a great job of loving people, loving God first, but then loving his people. That's literally the first two commandments that Jesus, it gives us, is to love the Lord with all your heart and then to love his people. And I feel like you do those things so well. You follow the two commandments so well that everything else, it's God's able to provide and even have a little bit more grace for in your life, because you do those things so well, those two things so well. And um, so excited for what your future holds. Any way that we can be a part of it, even with it, doing this podcast, but just being your friends for the longest time. Not 100% being the best friends, I know on my end, but us being friends and just experiencing God together and growing with the Lord together and be able to be on this journey with you is an honor, brother. So I just want to say that. Love you so much.
Yeah, bro. I
To even
honor
be on this
y'all, bro.
podcast with us.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, bro. I think I honor y'all for like doing this. Like it takes a lot of guts to kind of just like put yourself out there in this way. And I love y'all as individual men of God. And then I've seen you like grow up like in more ways than I can count, bro. And like I'm proud of you're very teachable. Like there's never been a season where you've been able to like bounce back from something through God's help, but like you're always willing to learn and always willing to get better. And Thomas, bro,
Thank you, bro.
you're very wise for your age, bro, and you're very humble, bro, and you don't acknowledge it enough. But honestly, like for real, it takes a lot of guts to start a podcast to put this out, and I'm thankful I get to be a part.
We're glad to have you, man. I'm glad to have you a part. We got the Dana White of One Birmingham right here. That's your
And
name. I just crowned you, bro. That's
let's
you
go, let's
gotta tell
go.
people
You
that now.
said you
This
send
is the
this you
Dana
send
White
this
of One Birmingham.
you send this to Jesse. He's gonna disagree, bro. I'm
Uh,
just saying this. I'm telling you this now. You send this to Jesse. He's gonna disagree. I know he means it, and there's weight to that. But if you send this to Jesse, he's gonna disagree.
I received that.
Um, man, is there anything that you want to promote before we end this? Anything you want to promote in your own life at Highlands? One, anything?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, if you're looking to pursue full-time ministry, I think Highlands College is a great place. Come check it out for yourself. I would love to personally take you on a tour, whoever you are. But I don't know. I think that's all really going on in my life.
That's great. We're
awesome, man.
doxing We're doxing his address and phone number in the link in the description.
He's got to take
Down
me on a
below.
personal tour, bro. I'm first.
Yeah, we need to set that up
Yeah,
soon.
my personal tour.
Bro, love you so much, Zach. Thank you so much,
Hey, bro.
bro.
Thank you
Awesome,
for
bro.
having
Thank
me,
you for coming on.
I'll see you, bro.